calling in the cavalry. The Ohio National Guard is tapped to help distribute the COVID vaccine. They tell us why they have only 2 minutes to unload it, and we get a first look at the Cleveland Clinic's vaccine freezer farm.
We are going to be there at the other side, whenever that is and whatever that looks at, and we will make whatever changes and investments we need to do to get to that point.
Fighting for survival. 3 out of 5 restaurant owners in Ohio say they will not survive the pandemic. We show you the lengths they're going to try to stay afloat. Christmas tree syndrome, the real illness you can catch from your Christmas decorations. Why they could be making you sick and what you could do to protect yourself. Shipping surprise, the holiday that celebrates shipping by letting you send packages for free.
You complete your online shopping on that day because you might be taking a risk with getting your packages on time if you go past that.
We'll tell you when it is and how you can take advantage before Christmas. And the great gaming dilemma. Everyone wants the new Xbox or PlayStation this year, but what if you can't find one? We have the best backups for the video game lover in your life. What's new starts now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
And hello, thanks so much for joining us for What's New. I'm Lena Lyon for Betsy.
Hello there, Lena. It's great to have you in. I'm Jay Crawford. Thank you so much for choosing What's New on this Friday evening. We begin this day at 5 by letting you know we are still awaiting an announcement from the FDA officially granting Pfizer emergency authorization use of their coronavirus vaccine. It could come at any moment. It might also not come until sometime tomorrow morning at the latest. But now there are new reports that the White House has told the FDA to approve the vaccine by this evening. Brandon Simmons joins us now. Brandon, good evening to you. It's been almost 24 hours since the advisory committee voted 17-4 recommending the FDA approve the vaccine. We're at a time where we're seeing record spread, record cases, as well as record deaths in the U.S. What's the holdup and what happens next?
Well, really, I don't think anyone really expected this to happen. The Associated Press is reporting that White House Chief of Staff Mark Meadows has told FDA Chief Dr. Stephen Hahn to authorize the vaccine this evening or potentially be fired. Now, of course, this comes after the president has been critical of the FDA's approval process and the time it's taking as other countries began to use the vaccine earlier this week. So we'll have to see how all of that plays out. Now, whenever the vaccine is approved, it will be shipped out immediately. Now, Pfizer says sites, including Ohio, should receive vaccines in a day or two when they're shipped. There are 10 pre-positioned hospitals, including Altman and Canton, Metro Health, and Cleveland Clinic, that will get some of the early shipments. But the bulk of them will be headed to the state's receipt store and stage warehouse. Now, that's where the Ohio National Guard has been fine-tuning the distribution process. They'll be responsible for repackaging large shipments into smaller packages to be moved throughout the state, which required them to overcome difficulties that come with handling this vaccine.
First being the temperature that the product is stored at, having to have the proper PPE to handle that, the time-sensitive nature of ensuring that we get the product back to a certain temperature within 2 minutes. We've been going through and creating the scenarios to replicate as close to real world as we can with the items we have on hand.
Now, FedEx also announced its shipping plan, saying they'll prioritize all vaccine shipments ahead of everything else. They'll also be partnering with their rival, UPS, to ship the packages nationwide as quickly as they possibly can. Now, remember, the governor told us weeks ago, Jay, the state expected to get its first shipments of the vaccine by December 15th. It appears that day will hold up, assuming we get approval soon, and there's a plan in place to get that vaccine out quickly.
All right, interesting. At least 3 other countries worldwide have already approved the vaccine and are currently administering it to its citizens. Brandon, thanks. We appreciate it. So what will happen locally once we finally get that green light to begin vaccinations? Well, the Cleveland Clinic gave us an inside look at their freezer farm where Pfizer and Moderna vaccines will be stored. In all, there are 16 freezers, some cold enough to store Pfizer's vaccine, which must be stored at negative 80 degrees Celsius. Others for Moderna must also be stored at cold temperatures, just not nearly as cold as those. Jeffrey Rosner is the executive director of pharmacy sourcing and supply chain analytics in Cleveland Clinic's Department of Supply Chain Management. He tells us about the logistical issues involved in the storage and the distribution of these vaccines.
So once that product comes in, we have to get it into the ultra-cold freezers as soon as possible. And that's actually the easy part, because what happens later is we have to go ahead and pull the product to send it to our inoculation locations. Once we open up the freezer, we only have 3 minutes in which to pull the product out, and then we have to close the freezer doors. And the freezer doors must remain shut for 2 hours.
The center is highly secure. It does have backup power 24/7 as well as 24/7 temperature monitoring. Lena?
Now on your feed at 5, about 3 in 5 Ohio restaurants say if things don't change soon, they will be forced to close up shop for good. That is according to a new survey released by the Ohio Restaurant Association. And as Will Ewick found out, owners are doing all they can to keep their businesses open.
These restaurants, it's a place where people meet. It's not just having a meal. It's the fabric of a lot of these communities.
2020 has brought a drastic change in the business model for all kinds of establishments. But for restaurateurs,
Obviously challenging would be an understatement.
the only thing constant in their business is change.
It's everything from all the dividers between the booths and the hand sanitizer and dividing takeout with the people coming in the restaurant, rolling with the punches.
As guidelines, orders, and restrictions continue, some owners like Matt Harper are forced to throw up Hail Marys to try and keep in line with codes, happy customers, and his doors open.
We're in a business now where you have a certain percent of the population, they're literally afraid to come to your business. You know, originally when you have a restaurant, you're just worried about giving good service and good food. Now you have to really worry about people making safe and wanting to come into your business.
So Matt spent over $50,000 adding a new air filtration system inside and a new heating system outside, hoping between the two it'll help keep Creekside afloat until a permanent end to this pandemic comes around.
It's not an expense, it's an investment.
Matt certainly isn't alone. The Ohio Restaurant Association says a new survey shows 60% of Ohio restaurants say they'll have to close permanently within 6 months if they don't get some financial help. It's the gloomiest projection they've made yet. But as they wait for government assistance or widespread availability of a vaccine, owners like Matt will continue to do whatever they can to avoid the expiration date most restaurants say is looming.
We're basically losing money every day we walk in the door. We always knew there's a light at the end of the tunnel, we just didn't know when. And so our whole goal was we are going to be there at the other side, whenever that is. We will make whatever changes and investments we need to do to get to that point.
Will Ewick, 3 News.
Now to today's daily COVID numbers. 10,359 cases were reported within the last 24 hours in Ohio. It's just above our 21-day average and bumps our total cases since March to 542,209 cases.
Lena, our other key data points for the second straight day, our positivity rate is below 15%. Just a few days ago, we were over 19%, so that's a move in the right direction. Hospitalizations are also down for the third straight day. They're down nearly 150 patients statewide from a high just a week ago. But sadly, 128 more Ohioans lost their fight with COVID-19 in the last 24-hour reporting window. Now, as COVID cases in Northeast Ohio continue to spike and as people are trying to make decisions about how to spend the upcoming holidays, the demand for COVID-19 testing is surging. More people want tests than can get them, rather. Mark Namick explains how health officials are managing this shortage.
In Cuyahoga County, 30 to 40,000 people are tested each week for COVID-19, up significantly from earlier peaks. But unfortunately, demand has also increased significantly. This is why health officials are urging people without symptoms or direct contact with someone infected to not get a test. It's the reason some doctors are reluctant to send patients for a test simply for peace of mind.
But because of the burden, I would say true burden of COVID in our community right now, which is extreme and scary, we aren't encouraging every person for every symptom to get tested because we want to make sure that we're caring for those who are most vulnerable among us. And I think we're looking at a world and moving towards a world where we have access to testing any kind of all kinds of situations, but we are not there yet.
Healthcare professionals are encouraged by a new generation of home tests and rapid kits that are coming to market. At some point, they expect that to make life easier and safer. But for now, tests must be reserved, they say, for the most vulnerable. Mark Namick, 3 News.
All right, Mark, thank you very much. Now, if you think that getting tested for COVID just a couple of days before getting together with family or friends, you should probably think again. Health experts say the results don't always come back that fast, and the delay between when you take the test and when COVID can be detected can be up to 5 days. Best advice is to still quarantine for 10 days. Lena?
Jay, new this afternoon, a suspected fugitive is in the hospital after an officer shot him in the Cleveland Steelyard Commons Walmart parking lot. The Cleveland police officer involved was acting as a member of the Northern Ohio Violent Fugitive Task Force. 31-year-old Dwayne Taylor is in stable condition. The case remains under investigation.
Well, coming up next on What's New, Christmas tree syndrome. It's a real thing. We're going to talk about the impacts your favorite decorations could possibly be having on your health.
And then the Kardashians aren't done yet. The new project the family is taking on. And Matt, what's coming up in the forecast?
Hey Lena, it's great to see you. What a Friday, right? We got well into the 50s. In fact, some of us south of the Turnpike got into the 60s today. We're going to stick with the 50s tomorrow too, but there's a catch. Rain is on the way as well. More on that forecast is coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. We have asked for your pictures of Christmas decorations, and you guys have not disappointed. Thank you very much for sending them in. We want to share some of the pics with our viewers. This one comes to us from Rick Argesta in Middlesburg Heights. It's a beautiful looking tree right there. And this one is from Lisa Smith Berger. I love the lights. Very well done. She lives in Madison. She caught her cat sleeping in the tree. And that brings us to today's question of the day. Are you team real tree or team artificial tree? I have to say, I'm somewhat surprised by the results, but right now, slightly less than 2/3 of you are weighing in as team artificial tree. I guess I'm surprised because I'm part of the other team, team real all the way. Whether you have a real tree or an artificial tree, you could end up becoming a victim of something called Christmas tree syndrome. I didn't even know this was a thing until a couple of weeks ago. What is it? Well, I talked with Drew Lippold from AdventaClean about exactly what this is and how we can avoid it.
It happens every year. It's when people start decorating their houses and they buy a live tree from a lot, or they bring their tree out of storage and they set it up, and unknowingly they bring in molds.
What's the best thing we can do to make sure that tree is as clean as it can be before we bring it in?
If you can hose it off, that's the best thing. And then you let it air dry. And for the trunk, we recommend that you take a 1 part bleach, 20 part water solution and clean the trunk with it.
Okay, now what about those that use artificial trees, or even for those that store their ornaments?
I would recommend before you bring them out of storage that you inspect them. You know, look at that box. Does it have funny spots on it? And molds can be all sorts of different colors. It could be black, white. I find purple mold out there.
What do you say to folks that do use those fragrance sprays and actually put them on their tree?
Don't do it. Now, everything is, different people have different levels of sensitivities to things. So if you don't have any problems, you could go ahead and do that.
Anything else that we should keep in mind?
When you have a petroleum-based candle, that candle produces soot and different chemicals that get into the air, and you're breathing those chemicals. And if you're sensitive to it, it can cause some serious breathing problems. But at AdventaClean, what we recommend that you do is you get candles that are made with soy, beeswax, or hemp. Maybe even get just flickering light candles if you're really sensitive.
Well, Lynna, I have to admit, I didn't know this was a thing, but when you think about it, many people store their ornaments and all their Christmas decorations in cardboard boxes, in basements, which can be damp.
Right.
And when you bring them out after having them stored down there for 11 months, and then you put them in your living space, it just stands to reason that you're bringing mold right into where you live and breathe every day.
Yeah, that's a great idea to hose down the tree. I wish I knew that before. I don't know if you can see our Christmas tree behind us. Now, I would be on team probably artificial tree because it's just so much easier. But my in-laws own a Christmas tree farm, so we're very blessed to be able to get a live Christmas tree every year. And it's beautiful. But we didn't bring back any mold, I don't think. We did bring back spiders.
Oh, yeah, you got to be careful about that.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, see, if you hose it down outside, hopefully that will get all of the spiders and insects and everything out as well as the mold.
They're holding on for dear life. With the spray, those spiders are just holding on for dear life.
Yikes.
Well, we are holding on for dear life with this warmer weather and sunny today as well. Meteorologist Matt Standridge in for Matt Wentz today. Hey, Matt.
Hey, Lynna, it's good to see you. You could not beat today's forecast. Sunshine and 50s in mid-December. Kind of unheard of, right? It was the best day of the week by far. We are going to stick with some 50s, though, I think into the first half of the weekend, but there is a catch. We're expecting rain to come on in. Our next system is coming across the Mississippi River right now, headed towards the Great Lakes. We are going to be on the warm side to start, so the majority of the rain that comes in will take place Saturday. It'll be in the 50s, so we'll just stay with liquid. By the time the system wraps up for the second half of the weekend, we may end up with a few light flurries. Most of the snow with the system is going to fall west of Lake Michigan, so several hundred miles away from us. Here's kind of the weather map that we're talking about. Low pressure sitting in Kansas and Missouri. The warm front came through, and that's what we were enjoying today. We got well into the 50s. In fact, some of us south of the Turnpike got into the 60s today. It's crazy, right? Well, there's that cold front across Oklahoma. That thing will be swinging on in later this weekend, eventually get us cooler from some snow showers. But we're going to be starting off with the rain. We're definitely in the warmer sector of the storm. So rain is coming on in. You see some in northwestern Indiana. We're probably not going to get some rain here in northeast Ohio until tomorrow morning. So it's going to be dry this evening. You have any Friday evening plans, you're good to go, and it's warm too. So enjoy that. But you'll notice you're not going to be able to see the stars as much tonight just because the clouds are thickening up from the west. Closer view at home, but we are going to remain dry tonight. It's tomorrow morning when that rain will start to arrive. What's kind of interesting too is that we have a little bit of a lake breeze, so the temperature really does range depending where you are. If you're within about 5 miles of Lake Erie, you're sitting mainly in the 40s for a lot of us, but then you get a little bit further inland, we're back into the 50s. In fact, Dover still sitting in the 60-degree club. That's not too bad, huh? All right, let's talk about the next several hours going into the overnight. Clouds will continue to thicken up. They've been thickening up throughout the afternoon. They'll continue to get a little bit thicker throughout tonight. Tomorrow, that's when the rain will arrive. The good news, though, with this rain is that it's not going to be terribly heavy. In fact, we may only pick up about 1/4 of an inch, so just expect some light on and off rain showers throughout your Saturday. Here's kind of your whole weekend timeline. Most of the precipitation falls as liquid on Saturday, but then we try to wrap things up on Sunday, and as temperatures finally drop closer to freezing, we'll be able to get a couple snowflakes. Not really expecting much in terms of accumulation, but we may have a few snowflakes flying around. Here's your National Zymer hour-by-hour forecast. You see the rain bands coming on in, but notice there's space between the rain bands, so it's not going to rain all Saturday long. Kind of on and off. It'll be light, and then in the evening, everything really starts to lighten up before we start to make that transition over to a few light flurries. Not much rain is headed away. About 1/4 of an inch for a lot of us. Here's your Kanganli Kia 7-day outlook. Guys, precipitation comes in this weekend, but does look like things get a lot cooler, Lena, after the system. So 50s tomorrow with rain, and then it gets much cooler from here going on forward.
All right, thanks so much, Matt. Hey, next on What's New, Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys back in action together. We'll have the latest details on their collaboration.
Then wait until you hear this little boy's reaction to finding out he has superpowers. It's fantastic and it's worth the watch, and it's next.
Two 90s favorites are making a comeback together. Kiera Cotton shares the details about a collaboration between the Backstreet Boys and Britney Spears in today's Pop Break.
Long live the king. In honor of the late Chadwick Boseman, Disney has decided not to recast the Black Panther in the movie's sequel. In a tweet, Disney said the film will instead explore the world of Wakanda and the rich characters introduced in the first film. Black Panther 2 is set to open July 8th, 2022. Dolly Parton to the rescue. The 73-year-old singer is taking her most recent role as an angel in the Netflix film Christmas on the Square quite literally. In an interview with Inside Edition, 9-year-old Talia Hill describes the moment she was saved by Parton while she was just trying to get some hot chocolate.
And I was walking, and then somebody grabbed me and pulled me back, and I looked up, and it was Dolly Parton, and I was like surprised. I was like,
as if we needed another reason to love Dolly Parton. Remember earlier in this week when I told you guys you never know what the Kardashian-Jenner family is up to? Well, turns out I was right. The celebrity family is taking their talents to Hulu for a brand new reality series. The dish on their new multi-year deal was announced yesterday during Disney's Investors Day. The news comes just 3 months after the family announced that their flagship show, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, would end in 2021. Momager Chris moves fast.
Like playing with matches. This might leave some damage.
The highly anticipated collaboration between Britney Spears and the Backstreet Boys is officially here. The song, Matches, is featured on the deluxe version of Britney's album Glory. The Backstreet Boys took to Twitter to promote the release, saying, "We've been asked about the possibility of a collab like this for the past 20 years, and today is the day." Who knew that 2020 would bring us a collab that so many of us have been waiting for? Here's to hopefully more good surprises in the final weeks ahead. Back to you guys.
All righty.
We were killing it.
Lena, it is time for our Worth the Watch. And I rarely say this without meaning it, but I'm going to say it because I really mean it. This one is absolutely epic. Watch.
Whoa! This is so cool! That's cool! But you cut this off! That was you! You're doing it! The superpowers? Yeah, you got I didn't know I had 2 powers!
That is absolutely fantastic.
I love that.
And Lena, I think I can relate to that so much because I remember when mine were little, I had a remote control ceiling fan, and I would tell the kids, if you blow on the fan, it will start. And I was, of course, had the remote control in my hand, and they would blow on the ceiling fan, and I would turn it on, and their reaction was priceless. My only regret, it was before cell phones, so I don't have that on video.
Come on.
But it brought back
memories.
memories.
What that memory is, yes, and that memory is burned into your brain. I mean, what a great, I love that age so much. I mean, what joy in his voice. I mean, his new he's going to have to perfect the 3-point stance landing from a jump. The superhero, they land with the 3 points.
I agree. Yeah, his round off was a little shaky. I will say, though, I feel for the little fella because one day soon, he's going to figure out that he actually doesn't have superpowers, and that's going to be a huge letdown. But with his passion for life, I'm betting on him. He's going to be just fine. What a great video.
Oh, so adorable. Thanks so much for sharing.
Absolutely.
And stay with us. We still have much more ahead coming up on What's New. Sending packages for free? Yeah, how and when you can save on shipping ahead of Christmas.
Then the new Xbox and PlayStation, they are extremely hard to find this holiday season. The factors that go well beyond the pandemic that are behind empty store shelves. We have that story.
And later, some of the coolest video you'll see this week in the night sky. Why shots like this of the planet Saturn and its amazing rings are possible right now.
And now, live from WKYC Studios, this is What's New.
Happy Friday and welcome back to What's New. I'm Lena Lai in for Betsy. Hi, Jay.
Hi, Lena. Great to see you again. Great to have you along on this Friday edition of What's New. We begin at 5:30 with our 3 things you need to know. Let's go through them, shall we? First up, we are waiting a decision from the FDA on whether or not it will approve emergency use of the Pfizer vaccine. It says it's working rapidly towards, quote, finalization and issuance of an emergency use authorization. The commission voted yesterday 17-4 for them to approve. Number 2, Cleveland Congresswoman Marcia Fudge was formally introduced today as President-elect Joe Biden's nominee to head the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development. Biden cited Fudge's experience not just in Congress, but also as the former mayor of Warrensville Heights, among her qualifications for being able to understand the challenges and solutions of her department at a local level. And number 3, the Senate passed a 1-week spending bill to prevent a government shutdown. Seems this happens every year around this time. This will also buy them time to try to break the stalemate over that much-needed relief bill.
Well, today is the last day the major carriers say you should ship your holiday gifts to ensure they arrive on time, unless you wait and want to get hit with higher prices. But if you're willing to take a chance, Monday is annual free shipping day. Consumer investigator Danielle Serino explains that and other ways to get your gifts sent for free.
Now, this is a gift everyone wants, free shipping. And you can count on it every year on the second Monday in December, known as Free Shipping Monday. The event was created in 2008 by the founders of Coupon Sherpa and freeshipping.org in an effort to extend the shopping season.
And that is the last day that most retailers will guarantee on-time shipping. Plus, they'll often offer free shipping on that day.
12 years later, thousands of retailers participate, although this year they're going to have their hands full. It's why Amazon has hired nearly 500,000 new workers this year alone. And many other retailers have turned their stores into mini fulfillment centers, where they take your order online and then send it from locations near you.
Retailers' distribution centers are experiencing a significant increase in workload, coupled with some of the restrictions that COVID's in place around social distancing and use of PPE. Waiting until last minute this year is just going to result in disappointment.
But Monday isn't the only way to get a deal. You can get free shipping just by shopping at the right retailers. Many always send purchases for free. A simple Google search will show you who. You can also get free shipping by using a membership like Amazon Prime or at Walmart, which makes sense if you shop there a lot. ShopRunner is another option, a service that partners with dozens of retailers for free deliveries. Check your credit card. Some cards offer free shipping as a benefit. American Express, MasterCard, and Chase offer free ShopRunner memberships, and some store credit cards like the Target Red Card offer free shipping on many items. Lastly, combined purchases. If a retailer has a minimum amount for free shipping, play the game.
There are 2 different things that you want to buy and you're looking at 2 different sites. You might want to see if that other item is available at the first site, and then you can reach that free shipping threshold and get free shipping.
Now, Monday is not just free shipping day, it's also Green Monday, another one of those made-up holidays like Cyber Monday and Black Friday, but you will be able to find extra deals. I'll tell you more about that on What Matters Most tonight at 6. I'm Danielle Serino, 3 News.
A lot of good advice. You know, it's such an ordeal sometimes, online shopping. I'm searching for the coupons. I'm trying to do the math like they were saying. And sometimes it even takes longer. It's crazy.
Yeah, and I didn't know about this Green Monday. I guess now I'm going to have to watch at 6 o'clock because I'm curious to see what that is. And she's right. These consumer holidays are coming at us so fast and furious. I can't keep up with all of them, but they're good for us. The bottom line is if they save us money, it's worth our time.
Yeah.
All right, Lena, there are some new holiday gifts that are really hard to come by, and it's usually the case every year. You can't find them online, you can't find them in stores. And this year, it's the new Xbox and the PlayStation.
Yes.
They're sold out just about everywhere. So, what to do if someone on your list really has to have that? We went to NBC's Liz McLaughlin to find out what we should do.
The last console releases in 2013 had gamers flocking to stores.
We got it.
Now it's a race online to get the Xbox Series X and PlayStation 5.
Anytime anyone has had any in stock for even a minute, they've sold out immediately.
Hard to get because of record demand for an upgrade after 7 years. And more Americans passing time at home due to the pandemic now classify themselves as gamers.
At first, I wanted the PS5, but out of luck.
Some have had luck following retailers on social media to get restock updates.
It's pretty hit or miss. I would say more miss than hit is what it feels like to me.
Retailers say they're battling bots that are quickly buying up stock to post on resale sites, which is one way to get your hands on a new console.
I don't think a lot of folks are particularly interested in spending $1,000 on a new PlayStation.
Manufacturers anticipate more stock by spring. Meanwhile, some holiday shoppers need to consider alternatives. A gaming laptop could make it possible to play new games without the newest consoles. Or the Nintendo Switch from 3 years ago, now back in stock at major retailers. Mobile subscription services such as Apple Arcade are another option.
They're sort of like Netflix, where if you pay a couple dollars per month, you have access to kind of a library of games.
Ways for gamers to avoid potential holiday disappointment. Liz McLaughlin, NBC News.
All right, Liz, thank you very much. Yeah, she talks about the disappointment because the gamers that I know need this and have to have it so much. That's why there's this secondary market, and the markup there can be, as you saw, as high as $1,000 per unit. But when people are desperate, they're willing to spend the money. One more gift idea, and this kind of goes hand in hand, Lena, with the Xbox and with the PlayStation. It's a virtual reality headset. That is huge this year. The Oculus Quest 2 is a standalone headset. You can play games, you can chat with friends, and you can even go fishing in virtual reality. That's kind of cool.
Yeah, that's pretty cool stuff. I mean, that immersive technology. I don't know. You know what? I'm going to tell my kids you don't really need anything.
That's right.
And I'm down to, you know, you get what you get and you don't get upset. I can't handle the pressure.
Yeah, remember the reason for the season. That's the whole idea here. All right. Now, not everyone can afford these gaming systems, especially this year. So our 3 News special correspondent, Emily Mayfield, and Browns quarterback, Baker Mayfield, are making some kids' Christmases much happier. The couple teamed up with Meyer and Body Armor for their 3rd annual Passing the Joy event. Tuesday, the Mayfields loaded up multiple shopping carts with toys at the Avon Meyer, wrapped them up, and brought 70 gifts to the Boys and Girls Club here in Cleveland. However, every child part of the Boys and Girls Club in our region, including Cuyahoga, Summit, and Erie counties, will receive a gift. And we say to the Mayfields, thank you for making our communities a little bit happier. Pretty cool.
Yeah, great work, for sure. Coming up next on What's New, a news chopper caught one of our planets and its rings on camera. You see that? We'll tell you more about this and why you'll want to keep your eyes on the sky the next few days.
That is so cool. Then, Browns coach Kevin Stefanski could be up for a pretty major award. All the details coming up in Clicking in Cleveland. And Matt's coming up with the good news, bad news dilemma on our weekend forecast. Hi, Matt.
Hey, Jay, you nailed it exactly right. We're going to stick with the warmth. That means when our next system comes in this weekend, we'll get some rain out of it. But unfortunately, we are getting rain because we had a lot of sunshine today. Why can't we just keep that sunshine for a little bit longer? But we're going to track as soon as that rain's going to arrive in your neck of the woods. That's all coming up.
Welcome back to What's New. I want you to take a look at these stunning images of the planet Saturn. You can tell by the rings. These images were captured from a news helicopter with NBC4 in Washington, D.C. It captured the video of the planet last night, and you're going to want to keep an eye on the sky over the next 10 days. That's because the two largest planets in our solar system, Jupiter and Saturn, are actually going to be closer together than they have been in nearly 400 years. This will happen on December 21st. Stargazers may see what looks like one huge star in the sky. That's because the two planets will be so close together. It's being called the Great Conjunction of 2020. The last time the two planets were this close, Lena, I wasn't born yet. It was 1623.
Oh, come on.
I'm old. I'm not that old. That's an incredible image. I can't believe that you can get that close with just a news camera. That's amazing.
I know, because it's not really that high tech, right? I mean, granted, the chopper was way up in the sky, but I mean, it just goes to show you what you could see. And, you know, earlier the script had said, oh, guess which planet this is? I'm like, well, duh, ring, Saturn. But my 13-year-old comes back and says, Mama, there are other planets that have rings too, like Jupiter, Uranus, and Neptune. I'm like, okay, fine.
Yeah, leave it to a kid to correct you, right?
Right. Well, you know, in order to see this great stargazing, you have to have some clear skies, right? Meteorologist Matt Standridge is back with the forecast. Hi, Matt.
Hey, it's good to see you guys. Last night would probably have been the best night to see those. See the planets. Now, what's even cool beyond the 400 years, back 400 years ago, the conjunction was right next to the sun, so it was even hard to see. So the best chance to see the conjunction in person with your eyes was even back further, another 400 years, back in the 1200s. Specifically back when, I was looking up the year was 1226, I think, back when Genghis Khan was taking over Mongolia, and lots of things were going on in Europe too with crusades and things like that. So it's been a long, long time. So it's going to be pretty cool. On December 21st, that's the date to remember, we're going to see that Christmas star out in the sky. Now, it's a little bit too far in advance to see the cloud cover for that conjunction, but it's still kind of cool to see the two planets getting closer night by night. It's been cool to watch. But for the next couple of days, we have a lot of clouds in the forecast, so it's going to be difficult to see here in Northeast Ohio. Specifically moving forward for the next couple of days, not only do we have clouds pushing on in, but we have our next system arriving as well. Some rain will be coming in for your Saturday. The good news is that it's going to be a very light rain. It's not going to be a downpour out there. You're not going to get washed out. We may get a quarter of an inch of rain or so. Now on the backside of the system by Sunday, we start to wrap things up, but we may have a few light snow flurries to talk about. The low pressure system still centered in Kansas and western Missouri. We're on the warmer side of this system, so all the snow that you see towards the west is probably going to fall mainly west of Lake Michigan. So we're going to be on the warm side, mainly a rain event for us this time. You can see some of the rain coming into northwestern Indiana. We're probably not going to get the rain here at home until tomorrow morning. So tonight, this evening, it's going to be dry, but the clouds will be pretty thick out there. You can see the clouds continue to move in from the west. We've been slowly watching them get a little bit grayer throughout the day when you're looking at the skies. Right now, temperatures, that's been the big story today. I hope you enjoyed the 50s. In fact, some of us south of the Turnpike got into the low 60s, and we're still sitting at 60 degrees in Dover, for instance, 55 in Akron and Canton, about 48 right now when you get closer to downtown. Most of us should try to fall into some 40s tonight, but we're not going to cool off a bunch because we have a south wind, and that south wind's really going to be cranking tomorrow with that rain. So not only will it be rainy, but it's going to be windy at times. So keep that in mind when you're trying to plan out your weekend. Here's your National Zymar hour-by-hour forecast. The clouds will continue to thicken up throughout the overnight hours. Temperatures steady in the upper 40s, and then that rain comes in tomorrow morning. Jason Frazier is going to help you get out the door tomorrow, tracking some of those light rain showers. But notice how there is a little bit of a break between each rain band. So it's not going to rain all Saturday, but we'll have some on and off showers throughout your weekend. By Saturday evening, we start to dry things out. Then a cold front swings on through. Notice the change in the wind direction. We start to become a little bit northwesterly, and then we can get a couple lake-enhanced snow showers coming off Lake Erie for your Sunday. How much rain are we talking about with this whole system? Not a lot. About a quarter of an inch or so. So it's not a lot of moisture. Most of it will be falling towards our west. We're kind of on the outer edge of this whole storm system. So get a little bit of light rain, you guys, on Saturday, maybe a few flurries on Sunday. But once that front swings through with this system, guys, we're going to stay cool for all of next week.
All right, pretty good. Thank you very much, Matt. We appreciate it. Have a great weekend. Well, Stephanie Haney is off today, so I'm going to take my shot at giving you what's clicking in Cleveland. And we start With Browns head coach Kevin Stefanski, he continues to be in the spotlight for coaching the Browns, and why not? This is their best season in 26 years. According to 3 News sports reporter Ben Axelrod, Coach Stefanski now has the 3rd best odds of winning the NFL Coach of the Year honors. He trails Steelers head coach Mike Tomlin and Dolphins coach Brian Flores. At 9-3, the Browns claim their best record since 1994. They're going to return to action right here on 3 News when they host the Baltimore Ravens at First Energy Stadium. You'll see that game Monday night. And then the following Sunday, they're here on 3 News again when they take on the Giants. Switching gears to movies. Hocus Pocus fans, you're going to love this. After months of speculation, it is finally official. There will be a Hocus Pocus 2.
I'm happy to confirm we are working on a treat for Disney Plus audiences with a spooky sequel.
Yeah, the president of Walt Disney Studios motion picture production made the announcement during a company meeting to investors last night. Adam Shankman has been tapped to direct the film. No word yet on when it will be released. And we will end on a festive note on this Friday. We're noticing the trees and the holiday lights photos you're sending us on the WKYC app. Keep them coming. Here are just a few of our favorites. This one from Sandy Potato in Cleveland. This next one comes to us from Mary Lavella. She's also from Cleveland. Love the lights on that tree. She calls this her dream tree, and I can see why. And Denise Andrews is from Willowick. She sent us this tree, which is covered with red and green lights. Very beautiful. Thank you, Denise. If you want to see your pictures on TV, send them to the 3 News app. It's so easy to do. You open the app and then you look for that Near Me feature. You just follow the directions. It's super easy. I've even done it. Or you can text them to 216-344-3300.
Still ahead on what's new, slippers have become a very hot trend in 2020. So our expert shows us the ones that would make the best Christmas gifts.
And this football team is made up of all deaf or hearing impaired athletes. We're going to tell you about the barriers they are breaking. It's coming up. It's our Show Us Something Good. And it is good.
It is Fashion Friday, and today we are talking about holiday gift ideas. And how's this sound? Under $100, sometimes less than $50. Good for the fellas and the ladies in your life, and it's something they'll wear all the time. We're talking about slippers, and not only are they a great gift, but slipper fashion is big right now, so that means more choices. The wardrobe consultant Hallie Abrams helps us slip into some great options.
The year of 2020 has been the year of the slipper indeed, and I do think that that's going to continue into 2021. Personally, it is probably the most worn footwear that I have in my closet. So I'm going to talk about 3 different types of slippers that can be gifted this year, whether it's to someone you love or to yourself. First type of slipper I'm going to talk about is a hybrid. So that's a slipper that can be worn in the house and keeps you cozy, but also can be worn out of the house. You might be familiar with this style. It's something that Gucci came up with and made very popular these last couple of years, and now there have been knockoffs. This one is by Steve Madden. It's a faux fur on the inside, but it's a great like loafer mule, and it runs between $69 and $99 depending on the retailer. The second type of slipper is probably what you would think of as a traditional slipper, meaning it's something that you slip on. Great thing about this style is that you can sort of slip it on and off depending on where you are. So if you're sitting at your desk, you can take it off, put it back on, keep it by the side of your bed, slips on real easily. This is probably what you think about as a traditional men's slipper. The nice thing about this is it also has a solid bottom. It has shearling inside and a nice plaid flannel on the outside. These were found at Nordstrom Rack for $29. The third slipper I want to talk about is a full coverage slipper. So it keeps your ankles warm and your heels warm, and you stay extra toasty. This pair is from Amy's Shoes, and it has a fun sort of whimsical pattern. It's a boiled wool, but it's still really soft, and it runs $59. I hope that these ideas will keep you warm and cozy in the cold months ahead. Happy holidays, and for more information, visit www.thewardrobeconsultant.com or follow me on Instagram at @thewardrobeconsultant. Thank you.
That's pretty good. Got some good ideas right there. You know, I'm kind of more of a socks gal. I don't know. Are you a slipper guy?
I am. I have a pair now. Anybody that's buying for me, pay attention. You know who you are.
Wink, wink.
I have a pair of Uggs that I've had probably for 3 or 4 years. And, you know, after a while, they start to, blow out on the sides a little bit. Well, that too. So I am definitely due a new pair of slippers. I love slippers. I can be in slippers. If I'm not outside, I'm usually in slippers. Love them. Okay, still ahead on what's new. A high school football team is making history. How far this hearing impaired team has made it in its state tournament this year. What a great story.
Then tonight on What Matters Most at 6, the chances that kids going to school from home could be putting on their long-term eyesight and how it could be in jeopardy. We'll also tell you how to prevent it.
All right, we wrap up another week of What's New with our Show Us Something Good. Tonight is a big night for the TSD Rangers. They play football in Texas, high school team. They're going to be playing in the school's first ever state championship, but that's not the incredible part of this story. What's incredible is the TDS stands for the Deaf Team of Texas. How wild is that? That all the players are either deaf or hard of hearing. That includes the coaches. Season was almost canceled because of a COVID outbreak, but they're still going, and we wish them the best in their quest for a Texas state title. That's amazing. It really is.
What spirit.
That's going to do it for now. We're out of time. We're back Monday at 5. We hope you join us then. What Matters Most with Laura and Lena starts right now.